Howdy folks, Marvin Forte here, KFNW Director. Welcome to the 10th episode of the KFNW Current. I appreciate you all being here. Before we get started, I want to do a shout out to some of our sponsors. Snake River Manufacturing is our title sponsor this year. Diamond Parking and Self Storage are our presenting sponsor. Native Watercraft and Boggs are tour sponsors. And our media sponsor this year is Northwest Tackle. I really appreciate all of you. We could not run this series and we could not do the KFNW Current without you. You're greatly appreciated. This episode is all about a recap for Potholes Reservoir this past Saturday. We did our first tour event there. It was a good, successful event. And I've got 3 guests with us tonight that we'll talk to one at a time. Our 3 podium winners, Hayden Dowson, who came in first, Brandon Hua, who came in second, and Jordan Duggar, who came in third. Let's see. Oh, we got Matt Burdick has joined us to say, "What's up, Fishaholics?" You ought to know, Matt. The original Fishaholic. Let me clean that window up a little, get it the right size. Hopefully it stays there. So before we get started on that, there's a couple of other little tidbits I want to talk about. One is I've been talking to a writer at Kayak Angler magazine, and they're going to be doing a feature of KFNW among other tournament series in the next issue of Kayak Angler magazine. I don't know if that's going to be a regular feature that they're going to be doing ongoing, but I've given him a bunch of information about KFNW and sent him some photos along too. So looking forward to seeing how that comes out. In kayak fishing news, Boat, B-O-T-E, has dropped a new watercraft, the Argo Arrow. Was announced yesterday. It's an inflatable built as a true fishing platform, so they say. It's 41 inches wide. That is quite a boat. It's got a pontoon hull, integrated mounting plates, and it packs into a rolling bag. The solo 13-footer is 33 pounds. I'm envious of that. I don't know if I want to go inflatable, but I am envious of that weight. The cost on that is $1,399. The tandem 15-footer is only 41.4 pounds, and it costs $1,599. Worth a look if portability is on your radar. Is anyone out there running an inflatable? I know we had one angler, Mario Romero, who was in his CUDA inflatable, NRS CUDA, at the Potholes event. And I know a couple of other anglers have inflatables or have won inflatables, NRS inflatables, through KFNW. Yeah, drop something in the comments here. If you do want to comment, you can do that by going to the Facebook page, not the Facebook group, but the Facebook page. And if you make a comment to the post in there where you're watching this video, I'll see it pop up in the queue here, and I can share it on screen for everybody, and we can talk about it. So we welcome you to chime in on what we're talking about, or just to say hey. Let's see. I guess with that, let's go into talking to the anglers. We had 74 anglers at Potholes Reservoir. Practice was a little brutal. It was super windy. And then on tournament day, it was kind of bluebird skies and light winds. Wind picked up a little in the afternoon, but I don't think it was anything too much. Oh, let's see. Here we've got a comment about the inflatable. Colin started with an Aquaglide Blackfoot 13. I know about that boat. I used to work with the, well, not work, through my connection with Native Watercraft. I worked with the company who made those and sell them. But yeah, it's a neat boat. Let's see. So it was an interesting tournament. It was our winner, Hayden Dowson, kind of took the lead fairly early, and he pretty much stayed. He only bopped out of the first place spot briefly. He held on to first, but for second, third, fourth, fifth, it was tight, and that was moving around a lot. We saw a lot of people changing hands there, which was cool. All right, let's go to our third place winner, Jordan Duggar. Jordan, here we go. Go ahead and unmute yourself. And whoops, wrong one. Oh, you didn't see that. Nobody saw that. I commend you on your choice of hat there, Jordan. Well done.
Figured it was fitting.
Let me turn you up just a hair there. Okay, that ought to be good. So yeah, Jordan ended up tying for third place with Chris Williams. And it came down to your big bass, because that's the tiebreaker for KFNW. If you're tied, is whoever had the biggest bass, and you had an 18.75 and Chris had a 17.75, if I remember correctly, and that's why you got third. And it was about $1,000 difference in payout too. So that 1 inch of fish paid off.
Yeah, I was definitely happy to get that one.
That's great. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your day on Potholes. What worked for you? I mean, we heard you talk about it a little bit at the awards, but this is an opportunity for you to dig a little deeper and share it with some people that weren't there.
Honestly, I caught every fish on a green and white chatterbait. I was just fishing the flooded willows in like 5 to 10 feet of water. It was kind of what I found when I was pre-fishing about a month ago, before it went off limits. Since it's my local lake, I got to go there whenever I want. So I was fishing a couple weekends before it went off limits, and I found the spots that I'd actually fished in during that time. I found a spot that had the bigger fish were schooled up right there, and so on practice day I went and checked there, and I caught a 19-incher, and there were other anglers around, so I instantly left and was trying to find new water in case I needed a plan B. And then so tournament day, that was my starting area. Unfortunately, I didn't find the big fish there. I was catching a bunch of 10 to 15 inchers, and I circled quite a large area around there. I think I had a couple other anglers who were in the top 10 in that general area too. So it was definitely a good spot. And then I want to say around 10 o'clock, my bite completely died, and I ended up searching new water. I didn't like where I found or what I found in practice, so I switched it up and just went where I hadn't been yet. And I lost one good one. I flipped into some weeds or wood that had been blown up during that wind into a little pocket, and I want to say that one was like 16, 17 inches. So that would have been my first upgrade. And then I kept working around with no bites for probably another hour, and I got my first upgrade. I believe it was 17-incher, which gave me a little bit of hope. And again, I was just fishing the willows with the chatterbait. I tried other things and never had a bite. And then eventually I started just kind of heading back towards the ramp with, I want to say around like 12. And there's something about a little willow sticking up on this grass flat that I really wanted to go fish by. And I went over there, like probably the third cast is when I caught that 18.75. It was right on the edge of that willow line. And yeah, that gave me a huge adrenaline rush because standings were still up, so I could see how far it bumped me up, and I was like, oh, I still have a chance at this. And so I fished that whole area until lines out, and I got my last upgrade, the 17.25, which apparently put me up tied for fourth, or ultimately third. So,
that's great. Yeah, it was cool watching it. It seemed, I mean, I hear you that your bite died and you had to scramble, and it sounds like that was key to your day, that you actually had some success after you moved. But it seemed like from the watching the leaderboard that you were just cranking them out all day long. I didn't notice a big dry spell. But of course, I was a little
maybe
busy.
it just felt like it to me.
I'm sure.
Because I was catching fish so quickly in the first few hours.
And then it stopped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The inertia of that is a little tough. So you mentioned that this is your home lake. It's right in your backyard.
Yeah.
Was that a help to you, do you think? Or was it extra pressure?
I would say both. Every tournament we've had here, I've honestly done terrible.
Yeah.
Like the last native event we had here, I lost more fish than I caught, and so I ended up just watching my brother catch fish in front of me. Like there was nothing I could do; it just wasn't my day. And then the classic, the fish that I found during practice for that disappeared for day one. So day two, I just scratched my plan and went to the mouth of Crab Creek. So it's like I've never really done good on my home water lakes. Same with Banks Lake. It's like I've never done good there, so I think it's just that extra pressure. But I want to make sure.
And we put both of them in the schedule this year, so you'll have a chance to prove yourself on Banks too.
We'll see. This one I have more confidence in. This is my favorite lake, and I know I can go out there and throw a chatterbait all day and catch fish, no matter what the weather is.
Yeah. It's great to have confidence baits that are working. Sometimes they don't work, whatever your confidence bait is, and that makes things tough. But yeah, it's cool when they are working. And a lot of the people were saying chatterbait was what they were using. So you made a pretty big move in the last hour, with a couple of fish, that nobody saw really until we got to the awards because the standings were off by then. What were you thinking when you converted there at the end?
I knew I had a chance to be in the money, but I also had a feeling that people were going to make those calls that they needed to. It seems like every tournament somebody catches a last-minute fish that jumps them up. Like I've had multiple tournaments where I feel like I'm right there, and then I end up first out of the money. So
sure, and you don't know who hasn't uploaded yet either, either because of service or because they're sandbagging, one or the other.
Yeah, and I don't think we have too many of those in our group. I think we're all pretty good. But I try not to watch the leaderboard, especially when I'm in the money, but at the same time, I can't help it when my bite's dead.
I've done both. It is hard not to look at it, but if you can never look at it, it's easier, I think, if you just sort of make up your mind before you even get on the water that you're just not even going to look at it. I think it's a little easier to do. If you take one peek at it, you're screwed because then you're just like, oh, I got to look again.
Right. Yeah, I definitely felt that. But knowing like that I had bumped up, I was really excited for the awards because I was really curious to see where I ended. Biggest goal was AOI points for this tournament.
Well, you did that. You're in great shape AOI-wise for sure. All three of you that made the podium. And even 4th, 5th, 6th is not bad. Right. That's great. Yeah, it's one. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been watching you and listening, and we had some comments. There's somebody that you may know. I know that guy.
Oh, I might know that guy too.
Brother Josh. You did kick your brother Josh's butt this time. You said he's beaten you the last few times. He had one big fish that won him some money, but in the native event.
He definitely lost a few more big ones. He was throwing a mag draft all day. He was going for that big bite, he said he lost a massive one.
He was going for the native. Yeah. Well, he did that before.
I don't know if he was going for the native or just one power hour.
Hoping he'd get 5 big ones, yeah. Oh, that's what I meant. When I said native, I meant the power hour, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he said, the home lake curse. There you go.
I'm glad he took it this time.
You got the whole family coming out here to cheer you on now. Your mom says this is your year, Jordan. You've had a few good years in KFNW. You've always had a pretty solid year, and a few years you've really stood out.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I cashed a check. I think last one was 2022 or 2023, somewhere
23.
in there.
Yeah, 23 sounds about right. And then let's see. Here's JC. So exciting to watch a Duggar get into the money. Woo! You and Josh both got into the money yesterday, and your mom was this close. Lacey in the native, she was right there for a while.
Yeah, when I checked the scoreboard, like probably like 9 o'clock, like I saw that we were both up there. I'm like, oh, this is her chance. And then apparently her bite just completely died off.
Yeah, she did. She was staying right up there, and then she just other people started submitting fish, and she just went down the leaderboard.
Right.
Unfortunately, Josh said, "I'm throwing him under the bus." Sorry, he beat you. What can I say? Um, but yeah, what else? You had all largemouth, right?
Yeah, I did find a smallmouth during practice, but I didn't find it on tournament day.
Yeah, the smallmouth bite wasn't real significant. Kyle Zemke had 5 smallmouth.
Right.
Well, he had more than 5, but he had a full bag of all smallmouth. But they weren't huge, so it didn't really do much.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I kind of felt like fish were in that awkward transition, like getting
in
ready to prep
between,
for spawn.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, and our
yeah.
our
It
nitro's
was.
gotten so cold to where I think it's affected them from moving up.
That's what I was just going to say. I wonder what would have happened if it stayed like 75
Right.
through the tournament. I think we would have seen maybe some crazy numbers.
That's what
Would
I
have
was
been
hoping
fun.
for.
Well, if there's anything you can't predict, it's the weather.
Right.
Well, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you joining us and talking about your day. Congratulations. You've started off the year right. I hope that you can pull together a good bag at some of these other events and make a run for AOI. Give Brandon a run for his money. You can't let him repeat again. That's
Right.
not allowed.
That's the plan.
All right.
Plan on going to them all.
Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate having you on, and we might bring you back. We might look at the if you want to hang out. I might bring everybody back, and we'll look at the standings together.
Cool.
But otherwise, I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Jordan Duggar. That's good. The whole family of Duggars were there. Well, not the whole family, but 4 of them that fish all of our events. It's really cool to have a family of anglers that all get out there and fish. The 2 brothers and Lacey and Jeff. We're always happy to have them around. Let's see. We got some other comments. Oh, Josh again. Wouldn't be a tournament without a cold front. Yeah, that's from your ears to, or from your mouth to my ears. That seems to be true a lot of times. All right, next up, let's see if I have any notes here. Next up is last year's Angler of the Year, Brandon Hua, who came in second. Oh, I forgot to mention Jordan. I mentioned he was tied for third with Chris Williams, but they were tied at 84 inches. That was their score. Brandon, who came in second, had 86 and a half inches. So there was 2.5 inches between them. Let's bring Brandon on. I need to connect him real quick here. Right there. And let's bring Brandon on and say hey. Brandon.
Hello, hello.
Let me turn your name on. There you go. Hello. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining me.
Of course.
It's kind of exciting. This is what we did the KFNW Current for. Really was so that we could do these recaps are sort of the sweet spot of this live stream. I'm looking forward to talking to everybody after the events and digging into their day and what they did. So you made a big move, also just like Jordan. You made a big move in the final hour. What was happening on your end when that was going down?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had basically 2 areas, I guess you could say, for the tournament. I kind of said at the award ceremony, and pretty much just had a kind of little sneaky spot near the boat launch that I kind of found years ago when the water was low, and obviously the water being high. I mean, nobody
Well,
really knew
well
it was
under the water.
there.
Yep.
I actually saw a couple of our pedalers go towards that area in the morning and blast off with the 5 minute head start, and I was like, "Oh no, this is
No.
not happening." But yeah, I had that spot, and I had the spot actually that's a little bit farther from Hayden. We were kind of fishing, I guess, sort of near each other, but separated by basically just a couple islands. And in the morning, I was planning was just to start in that spot, sit there for about 28 minutes in the cold, and the first 30 minutes I couldn't even get bit on the spot.
Oh man,
And I guess a
wondering
little
if
bit
you'd
of
made the right
context
choice.
during the practice. Wednesday, I launched out of Crab Creek, dealt with like the 30-35 mile per hour gust and the freezing rain. Had about 89 inches over there. Had like a 19-incher kicker over there. So I felt good about that. Over there, I was on a flipping deal, flipping a Texas rig and a jig into a bunch of the trees and wood and all of that. Just skipping as far back as I could with the water being high, and was getting a lot of bites that way. And then Thursday, I switched it up. Went out to the state park. Want to check out a different side of the lake. Go up into basically what we call Winchester Bay, and ended up having like 93, 94 inches out of 20 and a 19 and a half. And I was like, okay, like I was getting a lot more bites at the other end of the lake in Crab Creek, but I definitely feel like the quality is better over here. But we get less bites, but I think it was worth it. So start off the morning on that little sneaky spot, low light. One of the things that worked out for me was just a flipping jig. So this is a Z-Man cross eyes flipping jig paired with little beaver style trailers, palmetto bugs. Black and blue was this is the only time I threw black and blue was in that little light, just that dark silhouette in the water. Um, Basically, once the sun finally came up 30 minutes later, I was able to get that first fish to bite, and I actually switched angles because I've been fishing the same angle I was fishing on Thursday, and swapped the angle out. Was able to get that 18 3/4 to go, and that was one of the right fish. That's like one of the fish that I remember from like 7 8 years ago. They're just fat, healthy, they're not really skinny, kind of like a lot of the photos that like we see on Tourney X.
Sure,
And then not long after that, do a jig back in, then get bit, and then I followed it back up with just a normal Texas rig. There's palmetto bugs right there. Texas rig, pegged, 3/8 ounce sinker. See if it'll focus on it. But this is a color that pretty much you'll see with a couple other baits I use is all the same. California craw is a color. Basically, green pumpkin, watermelon, red flake. Um, that's kind of what worked for me. So I made the long run about 30, 40 minutes to my other spot. And basically, I was on a chatterbait bite all throughout practice. And this is the exact one I threw. It's a Z-Man Tungsten Evo. I only brought half ounce in this color, and this is called Hot Snake, Green Pumpkin Chartreuse. Even in that clean water, that's what worked best for me. So,
sure.
but the thing I didn't consider was that it was windy during practice. And once those post front conditions came, I think that brighter color did not work. I mean, I got a few bites, I think I put like a 16, another 17 maybe in the kayak, but that bite died off for me. So I stopped by. A thing on that lake is that beaver huts typically hold fish, and I had an area that had like 4 beaver huts pretty close to each other. I threw a Texas rig in there and didn't get bit, and I was like, I'm gonna try a stick bait. Just 5-inch stick bait, wacky rig. See if I can get it to focus.
That's
And
great.
then, with a little band on it. This is
Well,
the owner
that's
Jungle Wacky hook. It's a 1/0 hook, nothing super big. But yeah, in California crawl, green pumpkin, watermelon, red flake. I threw that up there, caught like a 17 and a half. I was like, interesting.
that's good timing on the stick bait because Colin says he doesn't believe you. He says you were just throwing a Senko all day.
I know Colin likes to make bets, so we can bet on it if you want, bro.
Colin also
Yeah, so
says you and Michael Mumford are starting off the season strong. Michael won the Native Watercraft No Limit Big Bass Power Hour. He won the No Limit section, making the
mhm,
Redemption House proud.
yeah. Yeah, I stayed with Mumford during the event as well. We stayed at a cabin with TJ, so we're kind of all up to date with each other on what was happening on the lake, trying to put a plan together and
Nice.
all that. But obviously, they both went a different direction than I did. But yeah, I mean, pretty much that stick bait, threw it up shallow. I saw a fish when I was throwing chatterbait, kind of swim out from the shallows, and that was my sign. So I ran back to the launch with about an hour left and hit that little sneaky spot. Didn't get bit at first, and then I looked at a shaky head that I did not throw the whole week, one that I used during the classic. I think it was maybe second or third cast, and I got 17 and a half. But it looks like even without that fish, I still would have gone second. But it was still fun to kind of get that last second heroics. Could have been, that 20 incher I need to make things interesting and make Hayden sweat a little bit.
There was a point where you and Chris Williams were real close. You were like neck and neck. I think you had a quarter inch on him.
Hmm.
This is in probably in the 6th hour, 6th or 7th hour, something like that. And then you caught a fish and culled 2.25 inches in that one. Your score went up 2.25. So that's what really propelled you up above, where Jordan and Chris ended up being. You were right there with them. It could have been any three of you. But that
Hmm.
one fish, I don't know if you remember that one fish, but that one fish really made a difference in your score. And I'm sure if you were watching, it gave you some breathing room.
Yeah, I think it was when I saw one fish, and it was probably like a 19 incher come out from the shallows as I was going down the bank standing up. At that point, I was kind of just sight fishing. I was looking for this fish standing up on my PWR, and saw that one come out, and I was like, "Ooh, that's one of the right ones." So I kind of let myself go by, flipped back around, I threw it, bit, hooked up for 2 seconds, popped off, and I was like, "Well, let's try again." And I threw out, and it's a different fish, but I think it was like a 17 inch change or something. Eight. And so there was more than just that one fish in that little area. It was weird. It was kind of like just like a single isolated patch of grass, and it wasn't very big, maybe 10 feet wide, and they were just kind of around it. So
That's cool. So I've commented about this, about you in this regard before, and it struck me again when I was judging the fish for this as they were coming in, and I would like to know what it is, but you have a knack for catching really fat fish.
I don't
And
know. It must be from the bass boat
that's what I
side.
was just going to say. I mean, you came to kayak fishing from the bass boat world, competing there, which of course their weight is what matters. You don't care about the length; it's the weight. And with kayak fishing, it's the length that matters, not the weight. But yeah, you've got a knack for fat fish. Let me see if I can go to the webpage here and show you what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I think I'm always I've
Look at
always been like I've never been a numbers person. It's always been like if I can only get 5 bites, but be the 5 biggest bites, like that's my plan. Like I've done decent in the no limit the last 3 years. I think I've made 2 5s and a third, but I've never been like chasing numbers. It's just kind of like I've
sure.
been just lucky to get enough bites through the day to be up there. But I'm always looking for just the better quality fish. I'll
Yeah,
take 5 bites over numbers all day long.
but yeah,
Yeah, and that
there
fish,
you see it
that I
there.
don't
That's a chubby fish.
like. It was over 4 pounds and only 18 3/4.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's
when that thing waked out of the water, I was like, "Yep, that's one of the right ones." Because that spot I caught that fish, that's where I caught the 20 and a 19 and a half off of. So I was thinking that that was going to be one of them.
nice. Yeah, Brandon won one of the power hours with this fish for native watercraft. In the you were the first hour, right? Is that right?
Yes.
And then Jordan, I should have mentioned that when I had Jordan on. He won 2 hours. He won hours 6 and 7. So that really is indicative of what he was saying. That he kind of came back later in the day and really jumped up to catch up with Chris and almost catch up with you.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was fun to watch. It was fun to see what was going down with everybody.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that's a fun event. I like bowls. I never fished it in April before, but I was kind of just trying to, determine, okay, where would these fish be spawning at? I would assume that they'd be just right outside of some of these spawning areas, and it just kind of worked out. It was definitely a lot colder than I thought it was going to be, water temp wise.
I think all of us were a little surprised at how chilly it was. Like I was saying with Jordan, if it had been a 75 during pre-fishing and through the event, I think it would have really changed the bite. But that's part of the challenge, right? You got to
Hmm.
roll with whatever Mother Nature throws at you.
Yeah, I always like a tougher bite than just a lights out event for everybody.
Sure, sure.
Just trying to find that bigger bite or multiple bites that you need is, I don't know, just one that I always like it a little challenging like that.
So how are you feeling about AOI this year? You've got a second. You won it last year, and you did it last year without taking first in any tour event. You had a number of
I know.
seconds and thirds and fourths. After one event, you're already in good shape. You got a pretty good shot at it. You're going to fish all five events.
I'm trying to. It just kind of depends what my schedule looks like through the summer.
Sure, sure.
I'm hoping to. I think I booked a campsite for Banks just because I know that it kind of gets booked pretty quick up there.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I'd love to fish all of them if I can. We'll see. But yeah, it's funny. Going into this year, looking back at last year, I was like, I need to do a different strategy this year and just go for the win because last year kind of I was like, man, was just missing that one win to top it off, and of course,
Yeah.
second at Potholes at the Classic, you know.
Yep, you were still
So,
second.
hmm so just being a bridesmaid over here, but I think it'll be tough this year for me because we've got Lake Cascade, that's new to me,
Oh yeah,
Banks, and then other Idaho events. But I mean,
I'll do
enjoy
it.
going to
Yeah,
new places like that. I think that like the more I go to new places, that it just makes me a better angler. Like Wacom, never been there before. I think I got fourth at that event, but it
and you did no pre-fishing for that one too. You had to
no
drive up the
pre-fishing, and
night
I think I was
before.
running on no sleep
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
But I think just fishing a whole bunch of different places, like you start to put the pieces together. Like I was like, oh,
yeah.
Wacom is similar to this other place I went to, so maybe they might be on a similar bite. And
I've heard Jeff Little say something along those lines, especially if you're fishing water you don't know. He says, look for things that are familiar to you that you know from other bodies of water. Yeah, which I
yeah,
think is good advice. Well, great. Thanks for coming on. I think
of course.
if you want to hang out, I probably will have all four of us on right at the end, and we'll kind of look through the standings and everything. But well done, congratulations. I'm looking forward to seeing what you pull off at 10 Mile. You've done well there in the past too,
I'm excited for that one.
and maybe we'll get you up on the mic for karaoke this time.
Nope, I'll be next to the bar like last year.
All right. See you soon.
See ya.
Okay. So that's two down, two out of three. Last but certainly not least, Hayden Dowson. Let's bring Hayden on. I need to click a little setting over here first, real quick. Three. There we go. All right, let's bring on Hayden. Do, do, do. Here he comes. Hayden, good to see you, my friend.
Going on.
Welcome to the KFNW
Thank you.
Current. Hayden, we were talking a little bit before we got started. Hayden is our first winner, our first international winner, our first winner who is not from the United States of America. Hayden is from British Columbia, Canada. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. You had a heck of a day. You took the lead early, and you dropped out of the lead briefly for a bit in like the mid morning, but not for long. And because you called and jumped right back up there, and then once you were up that time, you were way ahead. So you ended up with 90 and a quarter inches. As compared to Brandon, who was in second, was 86 and a half. So almost 4 inches difference between you. That's a healthy buffer.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy morning. I kind of just did my run. It took me about an hour and 15 minutes with my big old Titan in the motor guide. I'm only getting about 4 mile an hour on it, so took me a bit later than I wanted to. Of course, as I came around the corner to my spot, I'm looking. Oh, sweet, there's three other guys here already. And my entry point to my spot, there was already two guys in there, so I'm like, well, let's jump around the other side of this little island. And yeah, like started at a tree, second cast in, got bumped on a chatterbait, missed it completely. I was so cold, and I was like, all right, let's get in there. First cast into my actual spot I wanted to fish. That's when I caught my 13.5. I'm like instantly thinking like, that cold front moved all my big fish out of here. So just all right, okay, let's hang out. And a few casts later, that's when I caught my, I think it was a 18 or something like that. And then I kind of relaxed a bit and kind of kept going on, caught my limit, and then yeah, sort of same thing as everybody else. The bite shut off super fast, and was starting to think, well, let's go try to find some little 14 inchers to pad the stats on the power hour, and start doing that, and cruised around for a little bit, and well, I don't have too bad of a bag, but let's go back into that cove where I found all my fish, and yeah, then that 19.5 came out of nowhere, and I was editing my video before this and watching my reaction on it. I laughed pretty hard a few times. It was just a complete scramble, and yeah, there's no skill in that catch. That was just all luck.
You said that
But
one scared the heck out of you, I think.
yeah, no, that was. You can even see in the video, like, you'll see the big body flash, and then I'm just, oh, it's like I didn't even know where I was. So after
Let's,
that one, I knew I called that 13.5, and I was sitting pretty happy. And then I tried that. My last years when I was thought I was having a good day, my problem was um, checking the leaderboard. So I kind
just
of
like I was talking to Jordan about. Yep.
I was like, I'm not gonna check it. I'm not gonna check it. So I'm like, I know I'm at 89 right now. I know that's pretty good because I know guys have been talking about struggling to find some size. And then finally, I think it was about maybe 11:15, 11:30. I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm gonna check it. And I don't know if I've ever felt my heart rate jump that much that fast. And
Yeah.
especially because I saw who was behind me, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I gotta make some damage here. So I was just thinking and thinking like, oh, I gotta start throwing some big baits, and like that's kind of my bread and butter around. So I used to just throwing big glides, big swim baits,
Sure.
and like, well, we'll stick back to that. I know that I can find some big fish that way. I may not catch numbers, but I was just like, nope. I'm gonna stick to where I've been catching my fish. Just stick to what I've been doing. I didn't throw a big bait all week, so I didn't even know if it worked. And I actually ended up leaving that tackle box in my truck just to eliminate that, just so I knew I could stick to the one bait that's working. And
That's
yeah,
smart.
cruise back around my spot where I got my other few fish, and I was just thinking, and I'm like just talking to myself, like, oh, I need to get rid of this 16. I need like a 17 or something. Just get me into the 90s. And like two casts later, I hooked my 17 to call my 16. I'm like, okay, I'm at 90 inches now. I'm feeling a bit better about myself, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna run back to actually in that little channel in State Park, just north of State Park. I had probably caught, I think on Wednesday, I just went in there for fun fishing after I called you. Probably caught like 15, 14-inch smallmouth. So I was like, well, I can go run in there and do some uh, do some damage on the power hour total. And then I looked, and the whoever it was, I forget his name off the top of my
Michael
head, but
Mumford.
he
Yeah.
was already at 250 inches. I'm like, I'm just gonna stay here.
Forget that. Yep.
So I kind of stuck it out, and then got closer to the end of the day, and I knew it was going to take me a while to get back in. So I was like, I think it was, I left my spot around 12:45, I want to say, and I got back to the launch area by, I think I want to say 1:30ish. So the wind on the way back definitely helped me, and so threw a few lines around there, caught like a 13 and a 14, and I was just like, whatever.
Nothing that was
And
going to do anything with your board. Yeah.
no, I wasn't even going to take a picture of it for the power hour. I was like, I haven't even really uploaded many.
What I noticed about your limit
And
when you did bounce up to the top is even your smallest fish. You had 5 solid fish. And Jordan, same thing. Jordan didn't have any giants. at that point because he didn't catch his big fish until like hour 6 and 7. But his smallest fish was like a 15 and a half, which is pretty good for your small fish. And sounds like you had your eye on that smallest fish too, and trying to cull to get, and that's what got you up to 90 when you did that.
Yeah, no, I was even my 19.5. Like the thing I noticed with all my fish there, they were fat.
Well,
Like my
that's you
second
saw
one,
me
it
show
had
that
a
picture of
tail in its
Brandon's.
mouth
His
actually
was
from like a smaller bass that it ate.
yeah.
And that 19.4, that 19.5, that weighed. I ended up weighing because I thought it broke my PB, but it was a 14 or 414. So I was like,
4 pounds.
19.5. That's pretty. She's pretty full of some food if she's weighing that much.
That's great. Food
So
and maybe
I was happy
eggs.
for her.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe eggs.
but that's cool. Proud of you. I'm glad you did it. You've fished with us for a few years now, and this is your first place for sure. Have you been on the podium at all?
No, no, I think the closest I ever was to it was maybe 2 years ago when I qualified for West Coast. I think I finished like 21st out of like 105 guys.
Wow, man,
So,
that's great. Good for you, man. That's awesome to and great way to start the season. You know, I was talking to the other guys about AOI. Well, you're in damn good shape for AOI now too. If as long as you fish 4 events, 4 of the 5 events, you'll have a shot depending on how you do in those ones.
yeah, that's the only thing about it with this year is the one year, if I would have been really happy last year because I got to do my 4 events, but it's kind of looking like this is going to be my only tour event for the year
Oh,
besides,
you're only one.
yeah, so
Oh, that's a
I
bummer.
was just happy I got placed for West Coast and the championship just with policing and stuff here and my application with them. I probably shouldn't run. They need me here, so
Well, I'm glad you got it in for this one then, especially if it's maybe your only event.
yeah.
That's even more impressive. Well, let me bring the other guys back in, and we'll look at the standings a little bit here. Let me make sure that they're set up properly. Yep, I think we're good. Let's go back to that web page. Well, first, let me just bring everybody back in. There they all are. Hey, howdy, guys. You're still here. What did Colin say? Just don't schedule the wrong day off like he did last year. He did. I remember that. He was bummed.
He booked
For
like
the
the
classic.
week before, no, the week after the classic. No, week before.
Yeah. He didn't realize
So-
it till right. He's like, well, that's not the date, is it? I'm like, yeah.
I remember he messaged me and he was like, "You all ready to go?" I was like, "No, not yet." And he's like, "What do you mean? When are you gonna leave?" I was like, "Oh, next Tuesday or whatever."
Next
And
week.
he's like,
Yeah. What do you
he's
mean?
like, "Wait, what?" It was like Monday or something.
Well, hopefully, Hayden, you can at least make the classic on the Columbia River, if nothing
Yeah,
else, because you've
classic, I'm gonna
qualified.
try to make sure for sure.
Okay. Because, yeah, all 3 of you have qualified. We qualified the top 8 anglers for this event. We forgot to take a picture of them, but I'll get them. I've got them listed on the webpage. Speaking of the webpage, let's take a look and just kind of go through some of this. Let's see, you're all 4 there. That's great. So, yeah, here we go. There's the 3 of you. Looking good. Let me get back to, how do I get back to where I can see you guys? There we go. A little right up here, like the headline. Hayden Dowson goes wire to wire. So there you go. Hayden had 90 1/4 inches. He won a tote, and he had big bass. That 19.5 was the biggest fish of the day in KFNW. Anthony Arasas had a 20 1/4 in the native watercraft event that was going on at the same time, but he didn't sign up for the KFNW event. If he had, he would have had another $1,000 or so. So you had a total winnings of 4,000, actually of 4,285, because you've got $200 in there for Three Rivers Tackle. I think I forgot to write that on your check, so it really should have said $1,010 instead of 810, because you'll have $200 coming from Three Rivers. Brandon had 86 and a half inches. You won $1,349. Not a bad day. And Jordan, 84 inches, $1,028. Let's take a look at those big fish. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. There we go. Here's Hayden's. There's Brandon. There's his fish, that fat fish. I noticed the tail on that fish too as soon as I went to judge, and I'm like, whoa, that fish has been, I don't know, that's a strange looking tail with that wave on it.
A lot of these fish were beat up. I got one that was really a 19 after in practice that was skinny, and the tail, I mean, it almost looked post-spawn, but I think it was just from the year before.
Well, Jordan's kind of looks that way
Mine
too.
looks post-spawn. It
What's
had a
that?
bloody tail. Mine had a bloody tail.
Did
and
it?
Super skinny.
I mean, yeah, yours was. That's what I was just going to point out is, Hayden's was chunky. It didn't have that fat belly, but it was a big, heavy fish. Brandon had that fat belly, and then Jordan's was kind of long and lean. A kayak tournament CPR fish for sure.
It's funny. My fish and Hayden's fish are typically what those potholes bass usually look like.
Yeah.
Like 6 to 8 years ago, a lot of them were like that, and that was like the average size back in the day.
Yeah. Well, it could be Jordan's had a, swallowed a Senko or something like that, and it's just not getting the food that it needs, or,
All the
whatever.
fish swam into a Soyuz.
There's our big bass. So yeah, you got $1,010 value, $810 in cash, and $200 from Three Rivers. We had a couple of special awards. Joff Linson got a $100 gift card from Discount Tackle. The smallest limit of the day went to Kegan Pankratz. He had a 12-inch fish, so he had a 12-inch bag, and he got that massive trophy for it. I need the photo of that trophy so I can put it on here. Brandon, you got to send that to me.
Oh yeah.
We had some trivia on here too that's kind of interesting. 239 fish were submitted by 63 out of the 70. That should say 71 anglers. Or no, I guess yeah, that's right. It should say 71. That's what we ended up with. We started with 74 and ended up with 71, I think. That's 3-point fish per angler. Most of the people there were from Washington. We had 41 Washingtonians, 18 from Oregon, 10 from Idaho, and 1 from Canada, the one that counted. 36 anglers had a full 5-fish bag. There were 204 largemouth and 35 smallmouth. So smallmouth were not a big thing, and they have been in the past. It's kind of interesting. First fish of the day was Joff Linson at 5:48, so 3 minutes in, he caught a fish. And last fish of the day was Chris Williams, ever trying to, bump up his score a little bit more. He caught one at 1:44, 1 minute before lines out. And our big fish, like we said, was Hayden's 19 and a half. Here are our 8 Kayak Bass Classic qualifiers. Hayden Dowson, Brandon Hua, Jordan Duggar, Chris Williams, Brian Oles, Will Raymond, Andrew Larson, and Joff Linson. All 8 of those guys have qualified for the Kayak Bass Classic on the Columbia River in the Bonneville Pool in October. October 3rd and 4th, I believe, are the dates.
That'll be really good fishing at that time.
It's a great time to be on the Columbia. The fishing can be killer there at that
I
time.
think it's going to be a lot of mid-90s bags.
Yeah. Yeah, there's our list of the 8 qualifiers. Words video, and then we get down into the regular stuff.
I also want to mention something. I know Hayden mentioned earlier, but this was not a West Coast Championship qualifier.
That's correct.
Oh.
It's events 2, 3, and 4 this year that are
Oh, it's same as last year.
West Coast
You can blame
Championship.
Marvin.
Yeah, it was
That's
1,
okay.
3, and 4 last year. It's 2, 3,
Okay.
and 4 this year. Yeah.
Well, at
So
least
we'll
I
see
got
you
the
again.
classic.
I don't like doing
Yeah.
both the native event, doubling up with native and making it a West Coast Championship qualifier. I feel like they're both kind of draws for people to come and fish the event. So I'd prefer to keep those separated. But yeah, sorry, you didn't qualify for the WCC.
That's okay.
But
Maybe I can sneak away.
maybe you'll
for
find a
day or two.
weekend and be able to come down and fish Banks or something.
Yeah.
Well, Banks won't be. No, Banks is the last one. That's our last qualifier. So one thing I forgot to do with a couple of you, and I realized, and I thought, okay, well, we'll just do that for the end, is let's take a minute and each of you, we'll go one at a time from Jordan, then Brandon, then Hayden. Talk about anyone you'd like to thank, any sponsors that you work with that you want to give them a shout out, and you can just take the mic for a couple minutes. Jordan, you're up.
I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I am pro staff for Native Watercraft, so it's awesome
That
to
counts.
do good in their event, and then obviously Yak Rods. They're a big supporter of us.
That's great. And your family that comes to all the events with you. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people envy that. They're like, wow, that's so great to have your crew just always with you. But then can also you're there with your family all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely turned into family get-togethers for us, so it's nice.
That's great. Brandon, how about you?
I won't make it too long. I mean, V-Man, I mean, that's the baits that got it done for me. Besides that 5-inch stick bait, owner hooks. I mean, I didn't lose a single fish that, would have counted for the tournament. Actually, I want to give a shout out to all the supporting sponsors for KFNW and Native, because we wouldn't be able to have this, without them. It's super cool to have that support in the Pacific Northwest. And I think, especially Jordan and the rest of the family Duggars, like our community is so unique when you have like a whole family fishing it. So it's super cool. So I
And
know
all
that would be a
fishing
challenge.
well. Like they all
Mhm.
they all have their moments and shine. Lacey was the only, or no, you and Lacey were the only ones who made the classic last year, right, Jordan?
Josh went as well.
Oh, Josh did make it. Okay, so
Yeah.
3 out of the 4 of you. Sorry, I didn't mean to single out Jeff there.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think that's kind of what's more important to me than just like, some of my personal sponsors. Obviously, I'm able to, have some of the best products and fish well with them. But I think, without the community and supporting sponsors, like, I mean, none of this would be what it is right now. So,
Well, you've
even
got a couple of those personal sponsors that you haven't mentioned that are KFNW sponsors as well. So you can
Discount
go right
Tackle,
ahead. Discount Tackle.
Snake River Manufacturing, Steve Carroll over there. He's always doing big. He sponsored my event, and then obviously title sponsor for KFNW. So I think that's even just a prime example of community, right?
Yeah.
He's part of our community. He loves seeing us all succeed as anglers and the camaraderie that we have as a group. So I think that's where my thank yous will go to.
That's great. I said it at the awards. I definitely focus on the Pacific Northwest when I go out and try and attract sponsors. And most of our sponsors are Pacific Northwest companies. Not all, but most of them. If I have a choice between, 3 companies that make something, my first choice is always going to be somebody who's in the region up here. And I think that's paid off. We've got some sponsors like NRS who really aren't supporting as many bass tournaments anymore as they used to when David Voigt was there. But they still support us because we're the local guys, which is great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always kind of mention as much as I can, like all the KFNW sponsors and even the native sponsors is like, they support us. We got to be able to give them our business, as anglers, because without having them, like, it should be missed opportunities for us. So I'm always trying to push that.
That's good timing. Let's do that real quick before we go to Hayden. Since you brought it up, let's look at everybody else. So we've got Snake River Manufacturing right there, our title sponsor. Diamond Parking, Diamond Self Storage, native watercraft, bogs, and Northwest Tackle. But in addition to those, we've got our in-kind, our gear sponsors, G. Loomis, NRS, Discount Tackle, Yak Attack, Ego Fishing, Three Rivers Tackle. All of those, except Yak Attack, are Pacific Northwest companies. That's what I'm saying. That's fantastic. Then we've got Pacific Yak Angler, Yak Rods, Willamette Weapon Custom Lures, RoboHawk, PNW Bass Candy, and ZR Custom Tackle. Again, all of these except RoboHawk are Pacific Northwest companies. So there you go. Instead of me just telling you they are, I showed you, and it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Hayden, that takes us to you. Who do you want to thank? Thank your girlfriend for letting you use her laptop tonight.
Yeah, no, I can hear her in the other room. She's putting off schooling for letting me use it. So
Oh, that's nice of her.
I'm sure I'll make some dinner tonight and she'll enjoy it.
Awesome.
We'll do that. But yeah, no, otherwise it's really just me out there and promotional staff for Woot Tungsten and Raw Glove. But other than that, it's just me. I had 2 sponsors last year, Sessions Outdoor Sports and Barrel 22 Hot Sauce. And this year I just felt like it was unfair asking them to sponsor me
Yeah, if you're not
due
going
to
to be
my
able to fish.
back in the tournament scene. So
Yeah.
I just kind of stuck to myself this year, Ricky Bobby, just me and my cougar. And yeah, made it work.
You two, literally, if you're not in first place, you're in last place. Well,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
you're not in last place.
100% agree. That's how I feel.
Well, let me take a quick gander at my notes and see if there's anything I've left out. Let's see. Yeah, let's talk about what's coming up. And it's good. I've got all 4 of you here. First thing coming up is the KFNW Spring Opens. So those are all on May 9th. We've got 4 locations that we're going to be doing those Spring Opens. In Oregon, we'll be doing Dorena Lake. In Washington, we'll be doing Alder Lake. In Idaho, in southern Idaho, we'll be doing Brownlee Reservoir. And in northern Idaho, we'll be doing Fernon Lake. Those events are the way that, Lacey says, great job, guys. Those events are really how we recruit new people into the tournament series. It's a little bit more of a fun event, not quite as super competitive. We pair up a less experienced angler with a more experienced angler and put them out there as a 2-person team. And each person has a 3-fish bag. And if both people don't catch fish, it's going to be hard to win. So there's a lot of incentive there for the team to work together and try and make sure both people get on fish. Like, if you go out and leave your rookie behind and catch 3 fish, you're not going to win unless the rookie does well too. I talk to people about this event every year, and some of the more experienced anglers, I think Jordan was one of them, who was like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I really want to go out and do that. And I said, just give it a shot. It's more fun. It's not competitive. He went out, he messaged me after, he's like, we got to do that every year. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. We do. So we've got a lot of anglers who fish with us that this is how they got into KFNWs. They came out and fished an open, and some, like Cody Allison, won his first year when he came out. He was teamed up with Kegan Pancratz, and their team won, and Cody had the most fish of anybody that day. A cold day of hail and rain on Henry Hagg Lake early in the year. But we've moved it back a little now. It's May 9th, which is a really good time. We did it May 10th last year, so it's like exactly the same date almost. And I don't remember how all of them fished. I know Dorena fished really well. I had some big fish that day. I had like 3 big fish, smallmouth and largemouth. But as I recall, they all fished pretty well, and we're not fishing the same places. Dorena's the same as last year. The others are not the same. But Brownlee should be really good. Fernon, I hear good things about. That should be big fish. And what about alder, Jordan? Have we fished alder this time? I know we fished it earlier and it wasn't great, and I know we fished it late in the year. Have we fished it like in May?
Not that I'm aware of. I know I
Okay.
never have.
I didn't think so, but I'm hopeful that it's going to be good. It's sort of a mountain runoff fed lake. It's that aquamarine blue green color from the runoff from the ice melt. I think it probably ought to be really good in May, so I'm hoping for that one. And I know Brownlee will, and I hear Fernan should be good. So yeah, I'm real excited about that. I hope that, I don't know if you're going to be able to make it, Hayden, but I certainly hope Brandon and Jordan make it out to fish one of those. Which one will you do, Jordan? Are you better off going to Coeur d'Alene, or are you better off going to Alder? Is it about the same?
I honestly don't know.
It's
kind
probably
of in the
you're
middle.
probably halfway between them.
Yeah.
It's a little haul for you where you live, but for most of us, that's kind of what we did. Is we took the 3 states and we tried to pick 4 corners, sort of in the 3 states, so that everybody can get to one without traveling too far. Like Doreen is great, even for the people down in Roseburg or Medford or Ashland. They can get there in an hour or 2. It's really not that bad. And even Bend, they just come over the mountain pass. For Brandon and I, it's just over 2 hours to get down there, a little over 2 hours, so it's not bad. But yeah, I hope everybody will come out and support those events. I am behind on getting those events on Tourney X. The last 3 weeks of my life have been insane with travel and work and KFNW stuff, running this event we just finished. But I said I would try and get it done tonight, and I will. If it's not tonight, it will be in the morning. I've got a big work project I'm trying to get done too, so it's been challenging. The next event that I want to bring up is a friend of KFNW. The Brownlee Crappie Shootout is happening on May 16th. I will be there. That is a charity event run by our good buddy, Jed Rivera. He lines up a gazillion great sponsors from all over the place. He gets tons of gear. I mean, tons and tons of gear. And so everybody fishes, and it's basically a multi-species thing. It's not so much the length of the fish, it's how many species you can catch. And unless it's a tie, like then they'll look at length. But it's 7 species, I think, are the normal thing. I have fished it before. It's a ton of fun. It's again more of a little fun event that is competitive but really collaborative. That is at Brownlee Reservoir, same place that the Open is going to be. So May 9th will be a little warm up, although it's kind of a different part of Brownlee Reservoir, but it's all connected. You can find info about that on Facebook. If you look up the Brownlee Crappie Shootout, you'll find the group for that, and you can tell Jed you want to come, and he'll sign you up. I just booked my room today. I'll be up there Thursday through Sunday. I had a little bit of a mishap coming back from Potholes. Not many people know about this, but I had
Did you lose the
Anthony's. What's that?
Did you lose the Titan X off the highway?
It was close. I had the Titan X for Anthony that he won, and he lives east of Potholes, and he didn't really have a good way to carry it. So I talked to Jim Davis about storing it at his place, and then Anthony can pick it up there because it's not that far for him. It's just a little over 2 hours. So I drove down to Jim's to drop it off. Jim wasn't there. He was over in the western part of the state. But I got down there with Matt Burdick early, like 6:30. Unloaded the kayak, no problem. Got it into his shed. Jim got me in, told me how to get in and everything. And then I start driving out on his driveway, and I happen to look in the rearview mirror, and I see the wheel on my trailer, and it goes like this a little bit. And I'm like, did I just see that? Or is that like the light playing tricks on me? I hit the brakes, get out and go back there and feel it. It was like this. I mean, it was just hanging on by a thread. And I had just driven 80 miles an hour for an hour and a half that morning, and driving out there and everything. It was a real lesson to check those wheels and hubs often when you've got a trailer. I haven't checked it in a while. I haven't really been paying attention. It's early in the year, so I'm not in that mindset. But I mean, it's just lucky that that's where it happened. If I'd seen it in Moses Lake, I'd have never driven to Jim's. I would have had to stay in Moses Lake and find a shop and get it fixed. But I ended up just leaving it at Jim's. I just unhooked the trailer and left it there and talked to Jim. So Jim's going to work on it for me a little bit. And I'm going to pick it up, I think, on the way to the Brownlee Crappie Shootout. I'll have to car top my Hammer, drive out to Jim's, get the trailer, and then drive to Brownlee. It'll make for a longer drive. It's about 6.5 hours to do both, but I got to get the trailer back.
Maintenance.
What's that?
Maintenance.
You got to keep up with it, man. And I didn't. I failed on that big time. So I'll be using the Slayer LTE, the Slayer 10 LTE at Dorena Lake. I'll be pedaling. I will not be motoring. But my teammate very likely won't have a motor anyway. So no big deal.
It's funny. I think last year I put like 8,000 miles or something on my trailer, and I topped off the grease towards the end of the season, and then I finally redid everything over the winter. But it was before my event. I went through the whole kayak, just a Phillips screwdriver, went through everything. Everything was loose. Yeah. And I was telling a bunch of guys, and one of them, Jason McClure, I was like, hey, when's the last time you guys put a just flathead or, the Allen to all the nuts, bolts, and everything in your kayak? They're like, what do you mean?
Never.
I was like, you should do it. Everything was completely loose. And he's like, dude, I could have lost my track. I could have done this and that. Yep. So, like, that stuff, and I'm sure a lot of people watching now are probably thinking, when's the last time I did that? Something you want to do, especially your motor mounts, and even, taking your prop off, going through that, checking for fishing line, because you don't want one of the seals to break in your motor or your drive, because that will play a big role in more expensive things down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that when I get a new kayak. I definitely go through and tighten all the screws because they're often not real tight from the factory or from transporting. And sometimes I'll even pull them out, put a little blue thread locker in, and then put them back in. And that pretty much locks them down where they don't move much. But yeah, it's definitely a good idea. We had a couple little things pop up here. This isn't exactly the right group for this because these guys aren't in Idaho. But Dave Ells asked, have we fished Lost Creek Reservoir for a tourney? I don't think we have. We've considered doing it, but I don't think we've ever done a tournament there. That's over in southern Idaho, or kind of almost central
Oregon,
Idaho, I guess.
Right? I thought Lost Creek's in Oregon. Crazy.
Oh, I'm thinking of the wrong Lost Creek. Okay, let's take a look and see. There's Lost Creek Lake in Oregon. That did say reservoir. Maybe that's just...
I've heard good things about Lost Creek in Oregon. Never been there, but I've heard some guys who are local in the area doing pretty good over there.
Oh, yeah, that can't be right. That's not the right... I'm not sure. I see it. That's too small. I don't think that's where they're talking about. I'm not sure. We definitely haven't done a tournament there, and I'm not really sure about... the one I just looked at is not big enough. So I'm not sure. And then, big win, Hayden.
That's one of my buddies from here.
I figured that might be one of your buddies. But that's cool. And then the last event I want to bring up and talk about is our next tour event. Our next tour event is 10 Mile Lakes on May 30th. Again, I don't have that up on Tourney X or the details up yet on the KFNW website, but I will have that up very soon. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That should be a great time to be fishing 10 Mile. We fished it a little earlier last year. Should be killer. Let's see, we got... Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got rid of that too quick. Lori says, Oregon former state record there. Okay. in Lost Creek. I've heard of
You
it.
need to unlock your iPhone first.
Is that me? Oh,
Sorry,
Siri
I
thinks I'm
can't do
talking
that.
to her. Sorry about that. And Ryan Comer says, great fishing. It's a big lake. So Ryan knows it. Yeah, I haven't fished it. That's not the place I was looking at then. He says it's a big lake.
Yeah, Lost Creek Lake.
And
It's,
then Colin knows about it too. Southern Oregon is tough. Lost Creek is definitely big enough, but ramps are limited. Yeah, just north of Medford. Okay, so it's down near Applegate and all that. Okay. And they have
for good
spots.
seeds.
Yeah, I have heard that. That's what I remember, is spotted bass are in there too. Well, cool. Let's see, what else? One last little thing we can do. I haven't really prepped for this, but let's do it anyway. Let's take a look at the season-long 50-50 and see where things are going there. Let me switch our view here to the web page. Here it is. There's the 50-50. Corey Carlisle is in first place with 212.25 inches. He's also tied for the biggest fish of the tournament. I don't know why it's listing JR there. Or no, JR's is 22.5, so JR has the biggest fish. Yeah, Corey's is a 22.25. Brandon's sitting in second, about 9 inches behind Corey. Joff in third with 201.75. Rich Childs with 196.75. Ryan Flory with 195.5. We've got 10 anglers with a full bag of 10 fish, 5 smallmouth and 5 largemouth. Some impressive numbers. And yeah, JR's got the biggest fish. I haven't judged it yet, 22.5. So he says. But yeah, impressive. We've got a total of 516 fish caught already. 83 anglers. And just, there's still quite a few near the bottom who haven't submitted anything yet, but I suspect some of them need to submit from Potholes. They can get them in there. But yeah, if you're not signed up for the 50-50 season long, there is still time. You can still sign up. Just because Corey's gone out and overachieved and got 10 fish in there doesn't mean that you don't have a shot. We're going to pay out like 15 places on this, so you can see we've got 15 places. We've got, well, there's Jordan sitting in 15. He doesn't even have 10 yet. So yeah, there's plenty of time to turn that around and even beat Corey. Let's hope somebody can rally and do it.
Yeah, it might be a little tough.
A little tough, but can do it.
It's funny. Last year, Corey had like just big largemouth, all 22 plus.
Yeah.
And where he was lacking was smallmouth, which, there were still quality smallmouth that anybody would love to catch. And then he flipped the switch and just went for big smallmouth this
He
year.
only chased smallmouth. Yeah, when he got
Last
on.
year I had solid smallmouth, but my largemouth, I think I had 3 fish under 20 inches. It's funny, during practice at 10 Mile, I had 3 fish that were 20, but can't submit them. But
yeah,
this year I decided to go try to chase those bigger largemouth, find that first wave that was moving up, and I got lucky and got into a solid day catching them. But now my smallmouth are lacking.
I had a little of both, but I didn't have a great score, but I had citations of both. So that was cool. Well, I want to thank the 3 of you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Like I said, this is sort of the exciting part of doing this KFNW Current is getting these podium winners on and talking about their event and their season. I'm looking forward to seeing some or all of you back on the Current after you get on the podium again at one of our other events. We already talked about sponsors. That's the last thing on my list. So you guys have anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, I just want to say thank you to Northwest Tackle for obviously being the sponsor of all the media this year, and also to you, Marvin, for throwing this together. It's cool to, basically not just have tournaments where we communicate with each other. It's just another way for us to do it kind of in between tournaments. So it's cool.
Yeah, it kind of keeps things going, especially with having fewer events and spreading them out. It's nice to have something like this where we can kind of stay in touch. I'm glad you brought up Northwest Tackle. They've got an event coming up on May 2nd. They're doing sort of a virtual event. You'll go to Northwest Tackle in the morning and check in, and then you can go. Depending, I don't know exactly how all the rules work, but you are allowed to go and fish other places then. So it's a little different than most events where you go to a lake and fish there, or a river and fish there. But look for them. I think they have some info on their website about it, and I know they do on Facebook. If you go to their Facebook group, or their Facebook page rather, you'll see info about that event. It's coming up on May 2nd, so this weekend coming. I wish I could get over there and do it. Joe Bockenstedt.
Joe posted, I think, a flyer in the KFNW group page.
He did. It's in there too, in the KFNW group. I saw that earlier. So yeah, I encourage, especially if you're in that southern Idaho area, I encourage you to sign up for that and go and do it. Should be a lot of fun. And with that, I guess we'll call it a night. Thanks a lot, guys, and hope to see all of you sometime soon.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.